Hey, hey, Stig. How's it going?
Ah, yeah, good, good. How's it going? How's the weather in Salt Lake?
Pretty warm. I finally started being able to wear like shorts when I walk to the gym and not be like freezing.
Okay,
But
that's good. Yeah. Is it
yeah,
springy?
it's not spring yet. Like there's uh no like buds on any of the trees, but we usually get spring by like the second week of April. It's kind of like when the cherry blossoms generally bloom. So
Okay, that's yeah.
it's, we're not sure if that's going to happen this year because it's already seems uh, like it should have been happening already. So we'll see.
Okay, that's late. I mean, in London they're already full bloom.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, that would be nice. I'm looking forward to uh yeah a different season.
Yeah, me too. It's been a long winter.
How's your last week been?
Pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, it's starting to finally get a bit hotter. Yeah, went outside and yeah, I've been working on stuff. Good to finally be here on hardcover number seven. Is it our seventh one?
Let's see, eighth, eight.
All right. Oh wow. Okay, that's
Yeah.
nice. Hardcover number eight. Nice. What do you have in plan for today? What should we chat about, or what should we attempt building?
So what I'm thinking would be good to chat about is around like book data organizational structures. So
Mm-hmm.
this is something I've been thinking about kind of since hardcover started is like where's our book data coming from? How do we enhance it with data from external providers? How do we enhance it with the community in a way that is going to allow us to have different types of book data from like widely publicized books to potentially if we decide we want to do like fan fiction or something like that, or even yeah, I'm not sure where the limit is. Like, would a an article that someone posts on a website be something? I'm not really going that far down. More like, so I think for the context of today, it's more like things that are published as an entity that call themselves a book in some form.
Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, it's a really interesting topic, and yeah, we've kind of approached it from several directions, or like tangentially, or however it's called. Like we've taken stabs at it, but yeah, it feels like we've never delved deep into the subject. So yeah, that sounds exciting.
Yeah. So uh, what I started trying to do this past week was kind of like start outlining what the next phase of our like book data is gonna look like, um, in terms of like what we tackle for it. And let me kind of give you the pitch on what I'm thinking, and you can kind of let me
Yeah,
know what you think about this idea.
yeah,
So, uh, so right now on hardcover, the only things that you can do to create a book are let us know like the Goodreads ID or the ISBN, and we'll go and fetch that book from an external provider and add it to our system. Or you can just search for a book, and we'll probably pull it in from Google Books as part of that search. So those are like the two ways of adding new books. And I feel like that's kind of been working. Like I don't feel like we need to start allowing people to add books from other means just yet. Like, as I think if we have those two solid, then being able to just like add a book without an ISBN is kind of putting us down a little bit more future path for us.
yeah.
So I'm good kind of limiting it to books with an ISBN for at least today.
Yeah, well, that's a good threshold. I
Yeah.
mean, you gotta have an ISBN. I've published magazines, and it's pretty easy to get one ISBN. So yeah, that should be a good, you know, uh, yeah, threshold to judge a book by its ISBN.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking we focus on next is how we kind of fill in the gaps of what information is available about each edition, because each ISBN is referring to like a specific edition of a book. And so, for instance, we have, um, Hunger Games. That's a book, and there are many different editions of that book, each with its own ISBN. Like the audiobook has an ISBN, the hardcover book, the ebook, and right now we have no way for readers to help like fill in the gaps about the data for each of those editions. So for instance, if we're missing the page count for one of those, there's no kind of clear way for people to help us get that data into hardcover. So that's kind of like the problem that I feel like we're kind of solving with this phase, is how we fill in the gaps in our book data with people from the community.
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of what I'm thinking and imagining is, um, let me jump over to Figma here, and I'll share my screen.
Perfect. Just let me know what page you're on, and I can actually follow. Okay, yeah, I got you.
Okay, let's see, screen, um, Chrome tab, Figma. There we go. Right. So this this is kind of where I was like starting to figure out like what new pages we need on hardcover to support some kind of editing functionality. And then I'll get into like what that editing functionality could potentially look like. Um, so these are like the things on hardcover that would need to be editable. And
Okay.
so, yeah, we need to edit books, authors, series, uh, editions, and pretty much like all of these ones, like books, authors, series, they would also have the ability to like see the history. So kind of what I was envisioning when I was like thinking about this is like, who should be able to edit something on hardcover? Like,
Mm-hmm.
is it admins? Is it librarians with a specific role that we've like granted access to this, or should it be just like anyone who is using hardcover?
Yeah, that's really interesting. Goodreads has a 100,000 reader army of librarians, which is kind of weird because they're offering free work to basically the Bezos empire. Uh, but at the same time, this is because there's no source of real good book data out there. So you kind of have to go there to, keep your favorite book or edition updated. Um, and that's only available to librarians. So in our last hardcover, in hardcover number 7, actually, yeah, we're talking about actually having it available Wikipedia style to everyone who is on the platform. And I still thought, a wiki, that's pretty interesting. I mean, yeah, it sounded scandalous in a good way when you said it first, but having, 1 week for it to settle, I think it's actually like a really good approach. What do you think about that 1 week in?
Yeah, I'm even more excited about it now the more I think about it. I think the easy part is making everything editable by everyone. Like
Okay.
if everyone's a good person and people only make positive edits, then it's like the easiest problem in the world to solve. We just make everything editable. But yeah, getting it to the point where we're preventing against spam, we're preventing against people who are intentionally putting bad information, or maybe intentionally putting or unintentionally putting bad information, and they don't even realize that they're putting in something that's not standard or not good. And how we handle those cases, I think it is going to be kind of the most difficult part, because Wikipedia has kind of like Goodreads. They have an army of editors and moderators who are going through and checking what has been most recently edited and verifying that it's good or not. So how we solve that problem without having a huge editorial team is, I think, going to be our biggest kind of thing to solve in this setup.
Yeah, that sounds
Um,
great. I mean, it's a great problem to solve, and yeah, like you said, the hurdle is like, how are we gonna do that without having that number of editors verifying everything, so that it's also like something that uh, happens frequently, or as frequently as possible for each book that has missing info. And my question would be like, do you think it's a matter of uh, how many people are actually, having eyes on that certain book? Because uh, obviously our assumption here is that each book has enough fans that can who can spot uh, things that are inaccurate with it, right? Um,
yeah, yeah,
and
having like someone look over it.
yeah, uh, at the same time, it's good that our information is verifiable. So we only, apart from the description, which is obviously subjective, because you can focus on certain things. Uh, the info we have here is pretty, you know, undebatable, I guess. So the release date, the page count, the ISBN, they're not things, you know,
Right.
which are up for debate. So that's kind of like an advantage in our court, I guess.
Yeah, that kind of made me think that there are going to be fields that are maybe like locked and not editable, and certain fields, or maybe they're only editable by like admins or like a higher up role, like a librarian, like because like you might have a book with two ISBNs, like an ISBN 10 and an ISBN 13, and then you have another book with an ISBN 10, and you realize that the ISBN 13 from this first book should be on the second book. So it's like, it's not so much that the data is wrong, it's that it needs to be moved from like one place to another. And those kinds of situations are kind of like kind of on that gray area where we probably don't want to even allow it to be edited most of the time, but we need it to be editable, like for that those specific cases.
Okay, that's good. I mean, we're uncovering like a key, aspect to it. How about? I mean, why wouldn't that be editable? Is it like a technical thing that's going on? Does it have to do with the way we associate it with an ID or
I
something?
think I think yeah, I think one thing that comes to mind for me is that if we if we have an association of an addition to like its Google Book record, then we're able to know this edition has this ISBN. That's like a fact in our system. But maybe if we don't have a tie to some external data about the book, then the ISBN would be editable. So
Okay,
it's like, so if it's like not verified, then we can allow it to be editable. And maybe we do that
okay,
for like all the fields. Like we do that for page count. Like if we know the page count from Google Books, then we don't allow it to be editable.
okay. That sounds good. So you're saying that if it's on Google Books, we're getting it, and that's the truth. That's unless Google Books has it like completely wrong, we're not allowing anyone to edit because they might mess things up.
Yeah. Yeah. Something like that.
Okay, that sounds good.
Uh,
um
so yeah, I
what
started
I
thinking of, Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, I'll save that question.
So I was thinking about like where we start with all this, and it seems like editions is kind of the best place to start because that's, I mean, more impactful than authors or series. Like editions is will allow us to get better covers, better book data, and we show the data from one of the editions on the book page. So, like for instance, if you're if you're editing the edition for audiobook and adding the audiobook length, we would potentially show that audiobook length on the book page. So by completing more edition data, we're also improving the top level book page. Um, so it made me think like this listing of editions page and like these edit pages for editions would probably be some of the first pages to really start with.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, the
And
book page is in focus, so everything stems from that.
yeah, so I started thinking about like what should the editions page even have? Like, I know you've been doing like the book page and the different tabs. So this would
Uh-huh.
effectively be like the that tab under the books page and what we show on that page. And and I was still using kind of the old layout here, but this would the overall layout would kind of change. So I'm thinking about it more of just like this little bit of content that shows up in the tabs, kind of the important part.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, we can definitely swap this to the new layout. That's not important, but it would allow us to, yeah, have. So basically, uh, over here is what we list in a similar way to what we do in the book drawer, in the new book drawer, when you're able to set the edition that you're reading, right? So the
Exactly.
edition card. Okay, perfect. I'm just gonna
Probably with like
bring.
a probably with like a more elaborate card because it won't need to be as small as the drawer, but similar concept and similar data or similarly we're showing all the additions here.
Yeah, that's perfect. I like your notebook, by the way. I like this really pointed out.
It has a it's a I really like these moleskins with like the
Okay, it's
fabric
a
cover.
moleskin. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and yeah, I've switched to the dot ones instead of the lined ones
Yeah,
because they feel less busy.
they do. And they're perfect for layouts.
Yeah, so yeah,
Okay, so
I
this would be the edition. Perfect.
yeah, I know in our book drawer, um, where we were focusing on um, like the ability to change the format. So reading audio or ebook, because that's kind of the quickest way to filter on the like the book button drawer for like currently reading and yeah, exactly.
Yep, just wanted to bring this in for context for everybody who's watching. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
what we're working on for the new book drawer. Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
So I'm thinking like um, when it comes to filtering the entire list of editions, I was trying to narrow it down to like what's our hypothesis on how are people going to filter this list of editions? Like what's going to be the most important ways of filtering it? Because I feel like this one with the format, I feel like that's the most important way of filtering when you're marking like what book you read.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if on this page it might be different because there might be a different goal in mind when you're browsing this editions page.
Yeah, definitely. I like that it has like multiple dimensions to it. So the language one is pretty important because we have books that have a lot of languages associated with them, especially the more popular books. So finding the one that you're actually reading Yeah, that would be way better in this setup.
Yeah. I was trying to think if there were any other like data about the edition that would be most useful to like filter by here or have
I was
like
thinking,
yeah.
yeah, maybe. Well, a pretty tricky one, I guess. But filtering the editions by the amount of info they have, but I'm not really sure how to, yeah, actually filter that. So if an edition misses a lot of info, to be able to select. The editions or to sort them by how complete they are.
Mm.
So I'm guessing sort by completeness would be one, but I'm not sure if that's important. Maybe it's not. Maybe we can just find a way to yeah, highlight the information that's missing. I'm guessing that would be useful for uh, whoever wants to edit the info so that it stands out. But
That's
yeah,
true.
apart from
Like if you were sorting by completeness and then you were sorting by completeness reversed, you were saying like what are the additions that need the most help? Like what are the
yeah,
most
exactly.
incomplete additions?
Yeah, yeah. That could happen because I'm guessing if you're the incentive to edit it as one of the readers on hardcover would be I'm reading this edition. I really want it to appear as complete as possible in my library, so I'd search for it and edit it because I want accurate data and I want to do a service to the world of books by, you know, basically, yeah, contributing to the book data of this edition for other readers. Um, so I'm guessing they would find their edition anyway. So maybe if it's, I'm thinking, from a technical perspective, it might be tough to implement this filter, but yeah, the others look.
we we already have that actually. Like
Oh, okay. There we go.
we have a something called score, which is a
Mm.
score of each edition for how much data we have about it. And right now, we we use the edition with the highest score as the one that we show on the book page for that book. Or
Yeah, I forgot about that. Now that you mention it, yeah, we do have that.
yeah, all and yeah, and that kind of makes me think another thing here is technically different editions have different ratings. Like like people are rating the book, but they're also kind of rating the edition that they read of the book. Like so, the audiobook, for instance, might have a much higher rating than the ebook, but or vice versa. I'm not sure how important that actually is, though. It's more of a. It feels more like just an interesting fact rather than a like I'm gonna base my decision on what I read based on this rating. It feels like most people are gonna listen to the audiobook if they're audiobook listeners. They're gonna read the ebook if they're ebook listeners.
Yeah, but
But
that's an important point because you might have audiobooks where you hate the or you really love the way it's narrated, and let's say a specific audiobook with a specific you know narrator yeah, would be highly ranked because of that. So might be important. It might also, yeah, make things complicated in terms of how we judge the rating of that and what rating we show. Uh, but we're showing an average rating anyway. So yeah, if you wouldn't like an audiobook, I guess uh, just seeing that the rating for that so on the ratings page the reader rated the audiobook and not the hardcover would be important, right? So yeah, actually, I'm guess yeah, it would function because we show an aggregate, like an average rating. But if you want to really go deep into seeing should I listen to this audiobook or you know, you'd be able to maybe filter reviews.
Yeah, it's it's kind of like we don't want to show this rating if there's only like one of them for an edition. It kind of doesn't make sense to say
Oh
like the
yeah,
average rating. There needs to be some threshold where we need some number of people to have rated it. Otherwise, it's too heavily skewed by one person.
yeah, true, true.
I don't know what this
But
number
yeah,
is.
uh-huh, that should cover it, I guess. I mean, you'll find any edition that way. I'm wondering what's the book with the most editions on hardcover. Uh, just trying to figure out how many editions do we have to deal with. I mean, most books probably like have just a couple, let's say two, three, four, but
I
I'm guessing there are books that have, I don't know, what's the number? 50.
I know I
One.
know I saw that The Hobbit has a lot of editions. There are 280 editions of The Hobbit. Let me see. 1984 has 262 editions.
Okay. Well done,
So
The
yeah,
Hobbit. Winning. Wow. Okay. So that's about 230 more than my estimate. Uh, nice. We definitely need those filters.
yeah. Uh, let's see. Are there any other like sort filters or like things that come into your mind that we would want to consider at this point?
I think that pretty much covers it. So the idea is to find your edition without having to browse 280 editions. That would, I guess, cover it because you're gonna find it in less than 1 minute with those filters, no matter how many editions. So for the majority of cases, I'm guessing those filters wouldn't even be needed because you're just gonna have the list of 5 editions. You'll see your edition, you'll click on it, and you'll go there. But for books like The Hobbit, that's when the word comes in handy, and we're building it for the most complex reading habits and the most complex readers. So yeah, that's a really good. Yeah, it covers everything
Cool.
pretty much.
Yeah, I think I think yeah, this is a good starting point. Like if we realize we need something else, like a full text search or something, then like that can also kind of already be solved by like language or you know
Yeah,
audiobook.
you won't search too much for an edition with these filters.
Yeah, unless it's like yeah the in the worst case you might have to go to like page two.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's still
Cool.
good. Yeah.
See, I was thinking like what this page could have on it. Um, like I hadn't really thought about much more than like just a whole bunch of these edition cards with some pagination. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of keeping it simple, not really thinking about it like we do for the air lists where we have like multiple
Mm-hmm.
formats of the card. Just like
Oh
keeping it
yeah.
simple with one version of the card, and it just
Yeah,
shows
it
like
should just be like that single component that we reuse everywhere to
yeah
basically have an edition show the same throughout the site, so you kind of know that you're dealing with an edition, just that
yeah
edition card.
yeah yeah I like that. And what we show on this card versus what we show on like the standalone edition page, I think is we'll have to figure out like what do people want to see at the high level versus what do people want to see at the detailed level. Because I'm thinking like for this card, um, if you were to click on like the title of it, it would take you to the full edition page, which is like this URL or here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's the one that would be like, if this was the Spanish edition of a book, it would have the full Spanish title, and that'll also be good for SEO because we'll have a page that has the full Spanish title of the book, and a page that has the full Portuguese title of the book, and a page that has all of them.
Yeah, that's gonna play out really well. Uh-huh. That card looks good. I mean, I think it has all of the things it needs. So we have the switch to edition button would basically switch the edition that you're reading to this one. The version history is the editing history, right? Or is it something else?
Yeah, it's the editing history. I was seeing it as kind of like this over here. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this is kind
Yeah,
of Wikipedia like, but we can kind of figure out how to make this our own. But yeah, it's how to see like all the edits for this edition and be able to roll back to previous edits very easily.
yeah, that looks great. And what else does it have? I like that it has contributors. There will list like all the usernames and of all the readers who contributed, right?
Exactly. And it
That's
would
gonna
make
be
it really
nice.
easy to like compare one version with another or to roll back to a version. Um, yeah,
That sounds great because one of the perks of doing this and helping with addition, I guess, would be mentioned on this page, and we can figure out what else we can do if we implement stuff like badges or something that is recognition in the hardcover, network of
yeah,
what you did for this edition. Um,
yeah. I
it can
really like the
even
idea of badges.
yeah, yeah. I'm thinking also for stats, you could be the top editor of an edition and maybe even have a ranking. We could do this. I'm guessing it's a nice game to play to, improve uh, the knowledge we have for books and make it actually. If there was one competition that I would join, it would be that. I mean, that would be for a really uh, good purpose to, improve the knowledge and the actual truth or the info about
Yeah,
a book.
yeah. I like figuring out how to like reward people for doing that, even if they're
Hmm.
only doing it to help like their own library. Like that's I mean that's the most important part for for like people.
Yeah,
It's that they're getting something out of um, doing it. So yeah, how
yeah,
we
exactly.
reward
And
that's important.
yeah, you're also helping others. I mean, there's bound to be some person at some point, and we all know how, uh, you know, hmm, really, there's a lot of stuff that's missing in the book, the data out there. I mean, there's still not a good source of uh, accurate and complete information about all the books in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the editions.
So yeah, after people are oh yeah, so yeah, this switch to edition button. Uh, so yeah, kind of like you mentioned, like when we have like this idea of the user. we just call it a user book. It represents the reader's interaction with the book. It's when they first added it to their want to read list. It contains when they first read that book, when they most recently read that book, their rating, their review, all of that we associate with the book and with a specific edition of that book. And so one of the, I think, design decisions we've made with hardcover is that you wouldn't be able to add multiple editions of the same book to your want to read list or to your read list or anything like that. So this switch edition is switching the edition that you're associated with on the platform to be this specific edition. Do you think that makes sense? Like, I
Well,
think
yeah, that definitely makes sense. And someone, there are cases in which readers read an audiobook and the hardcover of a book, and those are two different experiences, I guess. Um, so there should be like one edition because else it would involve too much complexity. But then again, we have the reads which are associated with an edition, right?
right.
So the actual edition that they're shown is the edition of their choice. So anyone could switch to an edition. My question here is when they click on switch to edition, that just changes the edition that we're showing to that specific reader, right? It doesn't change the edition on one of their reads, or does it?
It doesn't. Yeah, you're right. It wouldn't change the one on their reads at all. I'm thinking um, maybe it like if they uh, if they haven't started reading the book yet and it's just on their want to read list, then when they start reading that book, it would use this edition. But if they've already started reading a book or they've already read it, then it wouldn't impact any of their reads.
Okay, that sounds good because each read we made so that to cover cases when you might read the book in different edition. Each book has an addition. Each read has an addition associated with it. Now, is that a good decision? I'm guessing yes.
Cool, cool. Just making sure we're on the same page. It is limiting it so that people that want to rate the book in multiple formats won't be able to. But I think that's such an edge case that I've I've only seen it mentioned in like a couple of Reddit comments. It's never something that's come up in any of the user interviews that I've had with people. So I think we're
Hmm.
okay making a decision not to do that, at least for now. We
Yeah,
could always change
it
it later.
can be it can be your favorite edition because obviously if you read a book in let's say you read it in I have books that I've read in Romanian and in English, and I have favorite editions, probably the English one. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
I guess uh, one of those edge cases, and uh, yeah, I'd be like completely okay setting one edition that's my favorite for a book.
And at least like if you do read it multiple times in different languages, you're still going to get credit towards your goals for each of those editions because each of those is still a different read through.
Yeah,
So I think that like if we weren't doing that goal side, then I think people would have an issue with that.
yeah, definitely.
But
But we're saving multiple reads, and reads have an edition
yeah,
associated with it. So yeah, that should be. Yeah. I think the way it's shown versus the way you read it are two different things. So we're providing support for each of those, I guess, through the multiple reads. By the way, does Goodreads have multiple reads available? I didn't check. So if you
they
reread the book,
they do. For them, since all of the books on Goodreads are an edition. If you read the audiobook and the physical book, you're effectively just reading two separate, completely different books that have their own ratings. They both have a parent book that's the same, but
Yeah,
they're in two separate spots. You can review them separately, um, or you could review them the same. It's kind of confusing. There are like so many editions that have like reviews that are similar to another book that has the exact same reviews. It's
yeah.
yeah, it's a lot. I think this organizational structure will be easier for people to find what they're looking for.
Yeah, it's the same book. If you listen to it, it's not gonna be like a whole different book. It's gonna be a different reading experience, but it's not gonna be a different book.
There was a one other thing that came up while I was like doing this that I was imagining that I would like personally be interested in on this either on this edition card or on the edition page. And it was like the idea, and I saw this on your book prototype as well. It was like, how do we like? Could we mark this as owned in some way? Because
Yeah,
this is like the point where you would want to be able to mark it as owned at the edition level, but you might also want to just do it at the book level if you don't care about the edition specifically. So
true.
that's its
Both
own.
could be valid. I mean, you're right. That's why I actually took it out of the prototype. That you gotta mark your specific edition as owned. At the book level, it could work in the way that you're marking the main edition. So you'd be marking the most popular edition that we're showing as owned, and in case you have a different edition that you own, when you go to editions, if you mark a different edition as owned, that edition appears in your owned library. So the default, I'm guessing, would be the best edition, the one with the best score. So the one we show if you haven't like switched to any of the other editions. But on this page, if you mark it as red, maybe it could switch to that. So we could have it on the main book page and on this card as well. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Having it in both places makes sense. One
So
what
yeah.
one thing that came to mind was something almost not to add this to the book button, but to like if the owned button on a book page effectively was saying like what versions of this book do you own, but that might be too
Okay,
much.
so this is in case you own multiple editions, right?
Yeah, or even just to select the edition that you do own from the book page.
Well, that sounds good. It could work like that. I'm guessing most of the times people would just mark the most popular edition because that would be like wildly more popular. But yeah, then again, I've read lots of translated books that are like, yeah, they're not definitely not the main edition. So that could work. We could have it as uh, or it could take you to a different page and you just like mark your edition. Yeah, either way, this could be like a fast way of doing it. But then
Yeah,
again, for if you want to replicate what you own, I think you're um, happy to spend a bit of time. So just going to the book page and then browsing the editions and marking your edition as owned, that doesn't seem like really, let's say, arduous task. It should be pretty fast, I'm guessing. But yeah, if we
yeah,
can do it so that it works on mobile, that's my only thing. It has to work on mobile.
yeah,
Um, this would ideally be like a thing, when in the drawer when You tap something, and we're doing that nice interaction when it moves to the side, and then you get this. So it's basically like this two panel interaction, but on mobile you just see one panel and then it animates to the next one.
Right.
If we
Yeah.
can make it like that for mobile, maybe, I mean, that's a good interaction to make as a component. So if something has like different levels to it on desktop, it could be like multiple panels, but on mobile it would have to uh, basically move between panels,
Mm.
because you know you're seeing just like a slither of the screen you'd see on desktop. So yeah, if we could make that interaction into a component and use it here as well, I'm guessing that will work.
Yeah. I can see that. And I'm thinking like what what stands out as like the information that would be relevant here? Like, yes, no on if they own own each edition. I feel like there's also the potential that people would want to know like other information about it, like how many copies, when,
Well,
where. Like there's so many data points we could use there, but I feel like just the yes no is like the 95% case that solves like the Pareto 80/20.
yeah, let's at least do it like that, and then we can v2 like other options in there, I'd say.
Yeah.
uh
Or like have I loaned this copy out to someone who.
oh yeah, I mean, loaned out could be like a separate field, I guess, even on the book page. If you loan it, um well, you could create a list of loaned out books at on second thought, so it would
That's true.
work like that. Yeah, I'm thinking the owned, uh, if you check an edition or a book as owned, it could appear in a list just as like the currently reading or want to read books appear in an airbooks list. There could be like a known list that when you check this, it either, if you check it on the book page, it puts the main edition in that list, or if you check it at an edition level, it puts that edition in that
Mm,
list. Would that make sense?
yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't be too hard. Like, especially if the ownership flag is on the book itself, because then like
Oh yeah,
we could have a list that's it's not like a status list. It's more of like just a owned books list, and it's your
yeah,
books
exactly.
across all. But right now, every user book needs a status, which is where that becomes a little tricky because
Yeah, well, if
yeah
you own it, you'd add list. So if you click owned, it would automatically maybe check the want to read as at least. Let's say you wouldn't want to own any books that you wouldn't want to read or haven't read yet, right?
yeah that's yeah unless you're like a library or like a collector. But
True, but even then, I mean, as a librarian, you'd want to read those. So, right?
yeah
It,
yeah
ideally, you'd want to read any book in your library. So, I'm guessing, yeah. What would be like a way to avoid that? Because, yeah, if it gets on the list, yeah, we could have it so that you can add the books with no status if you just own them. But I'm thinking that might be a bit weird. So,
yeah I guess I guess it's kind of like with lists, like you can add books to lists even though you've never read the book. um I
mm,
guess the
that's
easiest way to do this would be to create a list called owned that everyone has.
yeah,
and then
exactly. And it could
and
be
then
hidden or like uh, not. appear in lists. I mean, it could be like on the same, yeah. Where could it be? So it could either be on the same level as currently reading, or it can just show up on your lists page. And
Yeah.
maybe if you want, you can disable it or hide it. You just hide it.
Yeah. Mm.
That will solve it. And the ownership was mentioned a couple of times in when I talked to some of the readers using hardcover. So it would be nice to have that on the uh, list.
Yeah. It kind of brings me back to the idea we had a while ago of like smart lists, which were like
Mm,
lists that were effectively like saved searches where you select some filters and then you hit save and it saves that list to your account, and then anytime you pull it up, it's like it's querying all of the books you've ever interacted with for whatever the query is. In this case, that query would be like owned true or owned
yeah,
copies greater than zero or something like that.
yeah, that could work.
Would be another way. But yeah. Anyways, I feel like we're that was a fun tangent. But yeah,
Yeah,
it'll need more research.
yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be on the edition level at least.
Yeah.
And we could add it to a list of owned books and then decide where to show it, maybe just to have it on the back end, because then it's gonna be easy to uh yeah, actually decide
Yeah.
where to show it. But that
Yeah. That.
wouldn't mean you have to go back to the to editing the book data structure for that. So
Yeah. Yeah. The easiest way would be to make it so that there's a button with an edition, and when you click that button, effectively in the background, we find or create a new list called owned books, and for that list, we add this edition of this book to that list. And to the user, it just looks like they manually created a list and added a book to it. But from an interaction standpoint, they just clicked a button saying, "I own this."
yeah, I mean that would work. It would be
Yeah, that would be really easy. Like I could implement that today. Like that's how easy that is.
okay. Well, I'm
Yeah,
guessing let's put it there because owned is definitely something readers have asked for.
yeah.
So we could just throw it in there. Uh, I can fetch it from where was it?
Oh, right. Yeah,
The book
yeah.
page,
You
single
think
book page.
you think it's going to be better than my mock-up here? I mean, it's gonna.
Definitely not. Definitely not. But you know, what? What do you know? It isn't. It really isn't.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. Let's
Cool.
just
Yeah,
make this,
and
and
and what's kind of nice about this is that when it is added to that list, lists also have uh, a reason for every book. So they could put whatever they want about their ownership of that book in that list. Like they could say, like I own this book. I loaned it out to this person. I bought it at this
exactly.
this place. Whatever
Yep.
whatever arbitrary data they want to store as part of the ownership of their book, they could do it.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, and you have like a management of all owned books, and you track them like differently than the books you've read in general.
Yeah, and it would be an air list, so they would be able to you know do anything you're able to do with
So
an air list
yeah,
already.
nice. Yeah, that'd be
Well,
cool. Yeah, I think
yeah,
people are gonna use that.
yeah. I think we came up with a smart way to leverage the work we've already done.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's about time, you know, that our efforts in keeping it organized pay off, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Um,
Well,
well, I
this looks
think
good. Yeah. I'm really liking, the way it's shaping up to allow for that complexity. This is, I think, the most complex part of the whole thing. You know, the book editions are, yeah, uh,
Yeah.
a huge endeavor. Um, and this would cover finally all of the things that make a book, what it is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm liking this.
Cool.
And for the editing, mm, maybe we can cover this in the next week's show. Uh, I'm guessing it should follow the same structure and just be like a really easy thing you can do on your phone, and yeah, just have it, if we have it at the edition level, and maybe, I'm guessing for the description that's one of the parts that will live to uh you know the algorithm, maybe, like if we get the OpenAI API to work with the description, that would be great.
Yeah.
um but
Yeah.
yeah,
I
looking
like that
good.
too. Cool.
Yeah,
So yeah,
great.
I was thinking I'd probably start like implementing this page as like something functional, even if it's not like pretty yet.
Uh-huh.
just, just
Well,
to
we
get
have
it.
the designs for the yeah. It can follow, roughly the designs of that, or I think yeah, I can start having it in design as well, because it's gonna be a tab that should be there. I got, if you go to the books page, just to the single book page, just to give everyone an update. Yeah.
Oh,
Uh, this
nice.
is how it looks currently um, with the header as well, and it's pretty exciting. So we got the
Ooh,
ratings in. We've got the friends who read this, which is gonna be really, really like interesting, and it shows what friends left a review, and what friends, how many stars that review has, where it's available from, and it also shows, maybe this is like work in progress, but it could show similar books on the next level, and then what books friends that read this book also liked, which are similar to this book, and then
mhm.
maybe some awards and mentions and characters. And I actually got those from the Open API. Uh, yeah,
Oh yeah.
from the ChatGPT actually. Yeah, I just asked for a JSON file of all the characters in this book, and I think they're good. I have to double check them, but I think they might be okay. But again, this is another thing where we can get the first like pass at the data, and then yeah, see if we can allow readers to edit it, just to have, that first data for a book. And yeah.
Yeah. And I think characters and awards are both going to be two-dimensional tags, kind of similar to genres, moods, content warnings. Like, Cornelius Snow is basically a tag that we can apply to any book. And that way, when we click on Cornelius Snow, we'll be able to go to that character and see all the books that are tagged with that character.
Yeah, and the mentions in discussions. So maybe someone wants to
Mm,
tag the characters in a book, and I'm thinking that could also be, yeah, uh, in the grand scheme of things, another thing that can show up on that page. So that's cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really liking
Perfect.
this. And this little rating widget at the top is really cool. Like it's it feels very clear like what's going on.
Yeah,
I
your
wonder
rating is marked. Yeah.
I wonder about one other thing here is like if we want to show the average rating of the book.
Uh, yes. I think this was supposed to be the average rating, and your rating would be uh in yellow
Like the
here. So let's put the point 4.3 like average rating, and
yeah.
yours would be a 4.5.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, I forgot to change that. And you could have, I mean, we could actually put it underneath, but yeah, maybe just like that. Keep it keep it simple.
Yeah. I think that works.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is raining very hard here now.
Yeah, I was hearing something. Oh, wow, that's rain. I would sleep like hell on that sound.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, I bet.
But cool. Um
Yeah, good progress on this. I mean, I can't wait to get this actually out there and yeah,
very cool.
see it live.
I'll uh I'll probably start on some of the edition pages this week and maybe try to get that ownership feature in because I mean, while I'm doing the edition pages, might as well add it.
Yeah, of course, that sounds good. I mean, some people will be really happy to see that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it also gives us like a thing we can say to libraries. I actually wanted to visit some independent libraries I've been passing by and see what they think about us. See, if they'd be willing to create an account and yeah, actually use this. So this is like a great feature to kick off that discussion since, we're doing it. So that's good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sweet.
Well, then until next time for cover number 9.
Cool. Have a good week, Stay. Talk to you later.
Great. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.